Dr. Chris Sargent. This show is about renewed health, rooted in truth, and restored by grace. What does finding health look like for you? Do you have a vision for your future self and a way to get there? I'm Dr. Chris, and after 33 years in functional medicine and a lifelong journey through brain health, weight loss, hormones, mindset, and faith, I know that real transformation doesn't come from willpower or white knuckling your way to wellness. It comes from gratitude, honoring your body as the temple that God created. This show is about body stewardship, not shame. It's about rewiring your mindset, your metabolism, and your spirit to find lasting health without the grind. I'll help you cut through the noise, see opportunities instead of obstacles, and finally live the healthy, purposeful life you were created for. Let's spark faith and transformation together. Spark Faith starts now. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Spark Faith Show. I am Dr. Chris Sargent. And what does that mean that your body doesn't trust your schedule? I know it's kind of a weird title, but I kind of loved it because it's exactly what happens when we talk about inconsistency. And I know, don't leave, wait, right? Because none of us love to talk about consistency because so many of us, including myself, right? We get on this weird train of Monday through Friday, we do good. And then Saturday and Sunday, it explodes and we start all over again. And like, we just get on this crazy track, and it can really be crazy making, especially if you're trying to meet some goals or you have a deadline for your health. Like, I have a wedding coming up, so like, I want to be in tip top shape, right? Maybe you have a vacation coming up this summer or in the fall. Maybe you just got back from spring break and you really didn't even want to put your bathing suit on. So, hey, let's dabble in consistency. And we're going to take a road trip today. So hang with me for a minute, because here's the thing. Inconsistent patterns signal stress to your body. And particularly over 40 years old, right? Our midlife metabolism responds really well to predictability, right? And it responds really well to rhythm, not intensity and intention. Yes, we have to have intention, but like, not, well, I meant to do it, blah, 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 right? Not like that. So before you leave, right, this is not going to be a lecture. I really want to reveal some physiological truths about inconsistency that may be keeping you stuck, right? So, and before you think I have it all figured out, remember, go back to some of those previous episodes where I have told you that I have my own journey happening this year, that I crashed and burned earlier. And you know, I thought I was doing all the right things, and I had to make an abrupt U-turn, right? And I've had to keep turning. Okay, y'all? I have had to keep tweaking and shifting and tracking tighter. And I know nobody likes to track their food, but there are so many apps out there that make it super easy. Like, you can just scan barcodes. Some of them even have the ability for you to just scan your meal. So before I already feel all the resistance that you might be having, like, let's take a breath, right? Let's take a breath for a sec, and let's take this from a different perspective. That's what I'd really like to do today is start this whole consistency talk from a little different perspective, right? You know that I had been working so hard, but I had to upend that routine that was working for me for a long time, because what I didn't realize, it was actually digging me deeper into my own hole, right? And keeping me more stuck and more stuck. So we're going to take a road trip. Are you ready? So here's a picture. You live in Florida. Maybe you hate Florida. Maybe you can't wait to leave. Maybe you love Florida, but you're going to go on a trip, and we're going to California, right? We are trekking cross country. And honestly, you just want to get there, right? You don't love driving, but we're going to drive because who knows what's happening with airplanes today. So we're going to drive, and you want to see some things, but you really just want to get there as fast as possible, right? So you've got this plan, right? You've got it all mapped out, GPS ready to go, right? You're motivated, right? You really want to get to California. You want to see this thing, whatever it is out there that you want to see. And maybe it's not California, right? Maybe you don't want to go to California. Maybe you want to go someplace else, but let's just take this trip, right? You're motivated, you're focused, you're ready to go. You got your GPS, you right? You start really strong. Your first day out, right? You're making steady pace. There's traffic's not too bad. You're making progress. Everything feels pretty good, right? You've got some food packed in the car. Like you're good. You're good. You know you've got a week of in the car, right? But somewhere, let's just say Tennessee, maybe because that's where I live, you start seeing these crazy signs like see Rock City. And if you've ever been through Tennessee, you can't go hardly anywhere without seeing those signs. But anyway, or you see like, hey, check out these waterfalls. There's like reported to be like hundreds of waterfalls here in Tennessee. And you're like, whoa, that's super cool. You weren't planning on stopping, right? But it looks so interesting. You're like, well, right? So you take the exit and you spend a few hours, maybe a day. Okay, maybe you spend a week. And then you get back on the road and you're like, okay. You go further and you're like, back, okay, no. I need to stay on my plan, need to stay on my trip, right? But you make another stop. You're like, oh, I need to give myself some grace. I've been going for 4 days. And maybe you run into some friends and you have a long meal or a late night, and then you take a slow morning. And before you know it, you're still headed to where you want to go, right? California or wherever you decide to take your trip today. But what's happening to your progress, right? It's inconsistent. Ugh. Here it is. I know I can feel the resistance in y'all. I really can. I know because it like bubbles up in me too. So the first thing that I know would pop in my head is, oh, I'm such a failure, right? I just can't get it right. I'm not enough, whatever those thoughts are, right? And we're going to talk about mindset in just a couple minutes. So hang with me. Did you fail? No. Are you still where you started? No. You're just not where you want to be and not as fast as you wanted to be there. So did you create the fastest, most efficient path forward? Also no, right? You didn't fail, but you didn't go as fast as you wanted to, and you didn't get there as fast as you wanted to. So honestly, here we go. Physiology, your favorite. That's exactly what so many of y'all are doing with your metabolism. You're moving in the right direction, but your patterns are constantly being interrupted. And I can hear you saying, but life happens. Yes, and we're going to talk about life happening in just a few minutes. But your body isn't responding to your intention. It's responding to the pattern, right? So what's really happening here in your body? Your metabolism is not tracking with your goal, right? It's tracking with your signals. So, if you're going down the highway, you don't use your turn signals, except for change lanes a little, right? But when you get off the exit, you got to get off the exit, use your turn signal. You're going to turn right or turn left at the bottom of the exit, use your turn signal, right? So that's what your metabolism is tracking with. It's tracking with the inconsistencies. So your body, it doesn't say, as much as you'd like it to, oh, she's doing her best or he's doing his best, right? It says, I don't know what's coming next. What is happening here? So here's the physiology of the detour, right? Every time your pattern shifts, like your meals get delayed or you skip, or your calories fluctuate from a lot one day to none during the day and lots at night. Your sleep timing is all over the place. You sleep until late in the morning on the weekends, but you get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning during the week because you think you need to sleep in. Right. Your activity is inconsistent. Well, I only got in 2 of my workouts this week and none the week before. And so basically, your body is experiencing that as unpredictability. Our body doesn't like unpredictability, right? It can only work off of its own physiology. It has some limitations here. And the unpredictability is well, it creates cortisol disruption, which we talk about all the time, probably till, you're sick of hearing it. Blood sugar instability, another big thing because it's all tied together, right? I did an episode on blood sugar, cortisol, and all the pieces and parts of keeping your blood sugar even just a few episodes ago, right? This increases insulin output, which causes increased inflammation and causes increased fat storage, right? This is stress. All of that unpredictability creates a different kind of stress inside your body. And so at this point, right, there's a core shift inside your body, and your body is going to prioritize survival over fat loss because it doesn't know what's coming. And from a biological standpoint, really, the unpredictable environments that you're creating, and I've created, right? Unpredictable environments that we created require conservation. Oh, that is like the last thing we want, right? So inconsistency creates conservation. So let's go back to our road trip for a second. You're constantly stopping, rerouting, slowing down. You actually are burning more energy, right? All those detours you take, you're having to put gas in your car more often, right? You're wearing the tires. Your car is getting more wear and tear. You lose momentum. We'll talk about momentum in just a second, but you're making slower progress, and not because necessarily you're going in the wrong direction, because maybe you're still like the trajectory is right, but basically your patterns aren't steady. And over 40, your system is more sensitive to that stress, right? Way more sensitive to that stress. And this is because your long-term stressors of your life, not even accounting for anything big that might have happened in your life, but this is just over time, it's become more sensitive to stress. So you're less flexible metabolically, right? You can't handle those ups and downs as much and as easily as you used to be able to. And really, it's more dependent on rhythm. And so those little detours didn't matter before, but now they're compounded. Ugh, right? And so let's dive a little bit deeper into some physiology, because you may have missed some of this if you didn't listen to some of my other stuff. But inconsistent fuel equals inconsistent blood sugar. And insulin resistance, y'all, if you're a little bit insulin resistant and then you go into menopause, it just explodes, right? But that insulin resistance that you entered menopause with started 10 to 15 years before. Okay. So if you go through menopause at 50-ish, that insulin resistance started when you were 35. So think back to what you were doing 10 years ago to your body, if you can remember that far back. Right. And, one of those drivers is irregular eating patterns, right? When your intake is unpredictable, your blood sugar spikes higher, like weekend binges off your plan. Crashes are going to happen faster. Remember that blood sugar track we took along a few episodes ago? And this is going to increase your cravings, right? Your body is going to compensate with more insulin. And over time, fat storage just becomes easier, not harder. There's also an imbalance in your leptin and your ghrelin, which are your hunger cues and your fat storage cues. Those also get off balance. Like there's a lot more physiology happening here than what you realize, maybe. And so we're going to take it right back to where I always take it, which is muscle and metabolic control. So because your muscle handles so much of your glucose after meals, right? But when your trip looks like underfueling or overfueling, inconsistent training, inconsistent timing, you reduce your body's ability to regulate your system. And here's the clinical reality, right? This is the woman who says, but I'm doing really well during the week. Don't I deserve a little bit of break on the weekends? Right? You're great Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, but then you're like, what? It's all crazy on the weekends. It's not failure, right? It's not. It's not. And again, you know that I am leading with love and grace. And this is not about guilt. This is about getting honest with yourself, right? This is just inconsistency. It's not failure. So, and maybe you roll your eyes every Monday at yourself, right? Like, oh, here we go again. So, your metabolism really listens to patterns, not promises. Oh, I know it hurts, right? But again, I want to layer on a little bit more of what happens here in midlife. Because if you'll remember, hormonally, your sensitivity with lower estrogen causes more insulin resistance. Lower progesterone causes more stress reactivity because progesterone is a calming hormone, and your cortisol can become way more dominant. So that creates that even less tolerance of these disruptions, right? We have less tolerance to the disruptions and the detours. And here's a little bit more piece of lovely news, right? Because after the age of 30-ish, right, we start losing 3 to 8% of our muscle per decade. Ouch. Ouch. Right? That means like low muscle, low metabolism. I say this all the time. More muscle, more metabolism. But it also means you have less blood sugar buffering and less flexibility and more sensitivity to that inconsistency. Oh, I know. I know. This is a hard episode because I'm honestly, there's like a little mirror sitting next to my laptop that you can't see because I'm talking to myself all the time about this, right? So, with lots of love and grace, but a little in your face, let's go back to our road trip, right? You didn't quit the trip, right? You just kept stopping and going this way and that way and all over the place, right? So let's translate that to the under eating during the week, or maybe you're under eating during the day and overeating at night, or overeating on the weekends, or just loosening up some of that structure that you have because you think you deserve it, but that doesn't track, right? The sentence doesn't track with what you really want, which is a better you, right? So what you deserve is a better you. So let's remember that instead of I deserve to have a better weekend, right? I deserve to have a better me. All or nothing workouts. And again, I say this with so much grace because these detours are enough to keep you from getting where you want to go, right? And not because you're doing it wrong, but your body can't build the momentum inside of inconsistency. And like, let's say you decide, like, you park at an airport and you're going to fly somewhere, right? Part of the way into your trip, halfway down the runway, right? Ready for takeoff, the pilot like slows the engine. Now he doesn't have enough runway to get going. That's momentum, right? He has to start all over again to get that runway going again. And I'm not saying that one meal or one donut or one thing over the course of a week will take you off. That's, will take you off course. It's the one thing plus like, I screwed up the morning, so I screw up the whole day. Nope. Next meal, right? We talk about next meal. I've talked about that in a couple of episodes, like get back on the track. Next meal, not next day, not next week, right? Love you. I know it may not feel like love right now. I'm so sorry. And this is not, again, no guilt. This is not shaming. What I want to do is just peak your own self-awareness around what's happening, right? So what actually helps? What's the solution here, right? This is not a stricter plan. It's just a steadier drive, right? It's not this deserving thing that happens on the weekends or at night, or you're an emotional eater. Like, what do you need to do to help you handle those emotions differently? Because it's going to require a lot of discomfort to change and get out of the rut. We've talked about that before, right? If you're in a really deep rut, like one of those big ruts on the side of the road, you're going to have to work kind of hard to get out of the rut, but you don't want to go back down in the rut. right? So once you get out of the rut, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable because you don't have the walls anymore. That means you may have to do some emotional work. So let's get back to this trip for a minute because grace does matter. Like you're going to hit traffic, right? You're going to take a wrong turn. You're going to eat a donut when you shouldn't, or popcorn, or whatever your thing is. It's going to happen. So, of course, you have to adjust, but the quicker you adjust, the less slide back into that rut, right? That guy could have, like, if he's getting ready to take off and he's a pilot, he can go, oh, I think I'm going to slow the engine. No, 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 no. Just keep going, right? No, 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 no. Just keep going. So here's where we have to be honest. Too much grace becomes a detour. Ugh, I know. And enough detours is going to keep you from getting where you really want to go. And that is that better you, right? There is a difference between responding to real life. And here's the hardest part: excusing patterns that keep you stuck. And this is where self-awareness of getting stuck in that old mental pattern has to be confronted. You have to confront yourself. I don't need to confront you, right? This is about talking to yourself in a different way. This is about having a different conversation when you keep having the same conversation that's not working, right? So, when you find that you want to back off, or I deserve, or I need to, or this thing popped up, like, is this an old pattern? And is this going to take me away from my goal? Is this going to slow down the progress of my trip? Right? If it's taking you backwards, then even if you're like, yeah, it probably is. So even if it's a reluctant, yes, this is part of an old pattern and it's taking me backwards, then you know your answer. And you have to hang with it and be uncomfortable. That discomfort will last about 90 seconds. Feel it all the way through your body, right? And then, especially if it feels weird, hang in there with your plan, right? Even the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 10:5, we can take captive of every thought and make it obedient to Christ. And so, with tons and tons of respect, y'all aren't lacking effort. You're just acting a little bit of consistency, right? You're just lacking consistency, right, to maintain what you need to do. So let's reduce our detours. Let's not eliminate life, but let's reduce unnecessary pattern swings. Like let's create some consistent meal timing. Take your food with you. Let's have consistent intake, less extremes, right? You don't have to drive perfectly, right? Of course, you have to stop every couple hours for things, that matter, like going to the bathroom, but you don't need to stop every couple of hours or every couple of days or weeks for things that don't matter, because it really is just going to slow your entire journey. Skipping meals, under eating, then overeating, structured weekdays, unstructured weekends, right? This is just a place for excuses like, I'm not a structured person, or I'm an emotional eater. Let's hang on to those things and say, well, what can I do? What can be different? Anything that you say, I am, and whatever comes after that gets trained in your brain. And so you have to change the I am a structured person. I am one that can find consistency, right? And my Living Fresh Collective is going to be a great place for that when I can finally get through some tech stuff. Sorry about all that, but I can only do what I can do. But those are metabolic detours, and your body can't handle that imperfection. Your body can handle the imperfection. It can not build momentum in constant redirection. So your body can handle some imperfection here and there, but it cannot build momentum inside of redirection all the time. So here's the thing: grace will keep you moving forward, but detours are going to keep you circling. So let's build some repeatable rhythm, right? Same schedule every day. Not perfect, but predictable, right? Maybe you're an hour sleep in, not 5, right? Stabilize your fuel intake through the week, the whole week, right? Not heavy restriction and rebound eating, not good all day, only to pig out at nights or the weekends, right? Your body needs consistent fuel that it can trust so that it can feel safe. And then it doesn't go into that survival mode, right? Keep your movement steady, not extreme workouts. Do something 30 minutes a day, right? Repeatable strength training, walking, whatever that might be. Just keep it consistent. Give up other things. You may have to say no to some things, right? What are you willing to give up to go up, right? This is a John Maxwell thing, right? You're going to have to give up your old habits. You're going to have to start saying no to some things that you've been doing because they don't work for you anymore. So we have to give up to go up. Protect your sleep like a banshee, right? If you drive all night randomly, right? And then you sleep late randomly, you're going to lose your rhythm and you're going to be tired. And your body gets the same thing, right? So consistency has to be more important than perfection, right? We always say progress over perfection. Rhythm over intensity, right? It's not go out, run half a mile today and then don't do anything for a week because you're tired and you don't feel good. Steady progress over scattered effort. And so here we go, right? There's just scripture frames this so beautifully. Like God just has so many beautiful rhythms built into us, not these chaotic extremes, but rhythm and consistency, day and night. And your body will absolutely respond to that. Stewardship isn't about forcing submission, right? It's small alignments. It's bringing it back to the trip. You don't need a new destination or a new map. You just need fewer detours and a steadier drive, right? Not a stricter plan, just a steadier signal. I love you guys so, so much. And this is exactly what we're building inside Living Fresh. Renewed health, rooted in truth, restored by grace. I love you guys. See you next week. You've been listening to Spark Faith with me, Dr. Chris Sargent. This show is about renewed health, rooted in truth, and restored by grace. Tune in every Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on the Transformation Talk Radio for more simple, faith-fueled steps to live the vision God placed in your heart. Are you ready to take the next step? Schedule a discovery call or connect with me at drchrissargent.com. That's DRKRIS Sargent.com. While you're there, download my free ebook, Endless Energy, the 6 non-negotiable keys to endless energy, and sign up for an upcoming masterclass. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the show, and I'd love to connect with you on social media at Dr. Chris Sargent. Let's keep sparking faith and transformation together. Can't wait to see y'all next time.